Hi Sandeep, welcome back to When Coaching Matters. Good to see you.
Great to be here. Love to be back on your channel.
So today we've got an interesting, request. A lot of people have sent mails and a lot of people have DM'd us, and they want to know how you can help, as a coach in a relationship. So we're
Okay.
going to talk about relationship coaching today. Yeah.
Okay, great. I love the topic. Of course, we can help people navigate a relationship using coaching as a process. Of course, we don't participate in the relationship on the lighter side.
Okay. So let's start with the can coaching support a relationship building and recovery?
It can. In fact, this is one of the common areas where coaches often get into. And you'll be surprised that even when we are doing business coaching, executive coaching, any different type of coaching, a lot of times, the client will have interference, and the source of that interference is, sometimes the intimate relationships which they are having. And in coaching, we say we dance with the client. And in doing that, we support the client in helping navigate their relationship quagmire, because by design, these quagmires or the relationships are complex issues in nature. So short answer is yes. And yes, the coaches are in fact in one of the best position to, help people with relationship coaching.
Okay. So when do people approach a relationship coach?
Okay. That's a tricky question. When you notice that, you are ruminating is a word we use in behavioral science, when you start overthinking something. So if you are overthinking about the trustworthiness in a relationship, if you are overthinking, yeah, are me and my partner or the person who I love or live with, can we get along effectively? One of the good things to basically look at when you are looking at any relationship, a good barometer of any relationship is FIR. And no, I'm not talking about first information report. Okay, in the process, FIR stands for, the frequency of conflict you are having with the person. So if the frequency of conflict is going up, I think it's time to maybe look for a relationship coach. Then the intensity of the conflict. Intensity is, what kind of emotions are you experiencing? So emotions have intensity barometer. So, for example, irritation is a mild emotion. Anxiety or being anxious is a mild emotion, but the same when it becomes very strong as frustration, anger, betrayal, these are very strong emotions. So when you sense these emotions, I think it's time to approach a relationship coach. Third is when basically recovery time. So after every fight, which, either the couples, people, partner, intimate relationship, father, son, mother, daughter, and also across that. So if the recovery time is taking too long and it is increasing, I think it's time to approach a relationship coach. So remember, people, FIR, okay, frequency, intensity, and relationship. That's where recovery time, sorry, not the relationship, are good barometers or indicators that, probably you are not able to handle this issue the way you want to alone. And that is when you need to probably think about taking a help of a professional coach. And by the way, we can all profess to be relationship coaches, but I'm talking about professional coaches, people who have the training and accreditation to handle this kind of a situation.
Got it. So thank you for that. FIR sounds really interesting, and I'll keep that in mind next time I have a fight with my brother.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So the most frequently asked question is how is this, relationship coaching different from therapy and counseling?
And that's a good one. It is different because therapy deals with the source of the issue or the problem is in past, and it digs into that. It tries to understand where the person or the people together are there. And
Mhm.
counseling is also slightly different, because in marriage counseling or a relationship counseling, you do it to both the people ideally. so that there is space and there is a facilitated conversations which can happen and people can express their concerns and issues in the process. Coaching is a one-to-one process. So you don't coach both the people. What you do is you coach the person who is feeling the pressure or who has hired the coach to help them with this particular issue. And it takes what we believe in a coaching process and how it is different from counseling, that it takes one to tango. One person has to take accountability of bringing the relationship back to where it needs to be or where it should be. And it's a goal directed process. So it's not a free flowing process. Goal directed means the person who has hired a relationship coach will move the person and ability of the person to work on the relationship from point A to point B at the end of every conversation. And that's why sometimes if you are keeping aside, if you're not dealing with a difficult past or, or a psychological issue, or you are not dealing with issues which are beyond coaching. I think relationship coaching is a very powerful mechanism to bring the relationship to where they are, and the fastest, by the way.
Okay. So what I understand is coaching is different from therapy because coaching is future centric and therapy is past centric. And how is it different from counseling? Is coaching is one on one, whereas counseling is one on two, and it
Can
also
be,
is
can be. It's
can
not
be
necessarily can be.
can be, and coaching is goal centric as well,
Goal centric and one on one.
one on one. Okay, thank you. So, if you could just share an example of a relationship coaching situation with us.
But that's a good one. So, example, one which comes to my mind, I was coaching a very senior person, and the stakeholders were talking about building this person as part of the succession plan into a future casting role where the person would probably become a CEO, in the next couple of years. And when I started talking to the person, and therefore the expectation was strategic intent, relationship with board of directors, and executive presence, those kind of areas. And when we started, and that was also put in the coaching contract. And when we started working together, so he says, Sandeep, I'm not able to focus. I said, what happened? And the person said, I've been moved around, and this is I was in a place called Ahmedabad, and now I'm in Kerala, where I'm in an alien culture. My life was set. My daughters, two daughters he had, okay, were set and everything else. And I'm not able to focus because every time I go back to the house, I have a very sad looking wife. I have a very sad looking, and I feel guilty about pulling them into this kind of a situation. And often we talk about how good it was when it was easy, and then as we talked about it, we realized that the capacity, the relationship with wife and daughter is overbearing on this client and leading to what we call as interference in coaching process. And unless we address that, any amount of conversation or discussion or exposure experience around strategic thinking, board relationship with the board of directors will not land, or it will not take us to where we want us to be. So there's an expression in coaching called as dancing with the client. So we said, okay, let's bookmark that because that seems to be the reason or the barrier for you to achieve what your goal is. Let's talk about your family. And then there were 12 conversations we were engaged on, and we spoke to about, I think, about 5 or 6 conversations were on him being able to resolve these issues. And I can tell you, when this person was able to uh, bring the relationship with the wife and the daughter to a point where it was not an interference, I think I was talking to a different person. And it was so fast. And this person was obviously a high potential for this organization, and organization was betting big on that. And then I could see the potential. It was like as if the person has changed, and it was a transformative experience. That how relationship coaching can affect the output in the business side. It was a learning for me as a coach. So interference prevents people from doing what they already know. Most people are not able to do what they need to do in their life, not because they don't know, what to do. It is frequently they don't do what they already know. This is what I learned from Alan Fine, the great global coach.
Yeah. Wow, that was actually insightful. Yeah. So, as a coach, how do you approach relationship coaching?
Oh, okay. So you're asking my trade secrets. I will, I'll give you a glimpse into that. So there are when you are doing relationship coaching, this is a three-step process. Relationship coaching is fairly similar to that of life coaching. First thing is you have to talk about the fears or concern the client. Client in this case is the person we are coaching might be facing. What are their biggest apprehension? Remember, the expression is they don't do what they already know. They know what they should action be, and the reason why they're not acting is they have some fear, concerns, consequences in their mind, which may be adverse, or it's not giving them the confidence for them to go forward. So once you bring them about, and there are many methods and techniques which I'll not go into, but we do that. And once we do that, then basically, once they reconcile with their concerns, fears, and challenges we look for patterns. Patterns are basically questions around, how long this has been going on. Okay, who else do you see yourself, coming across in the same manner? So you kind of connecting the dots to see how deeply this person is. Is it a habit? Is it a sporadic behavior, and so on and so forth? So once you connect those dots, then you basically say, okay, so while you were connecting the dots, or while you were establishing the pattern of your behavior, what stood out for you? And then we move to the third step. Pick up what stood out for the client itself and ask them a very simple, polite, nice question. What do you want to do about it? And sometimes we basically, you know, also use some gestalt methods. Gestalt methods are experiential methods of helping build awareness with the client. So once I did a very interesting experiment with one of the leaders when we were doing relationship coaching, but the relationship here was not an intimate relationship, but relationship with the direct reports. And the client seemed to have his own version of how he sees himself, and the HR had a different version. So we said there's an awareness gap, so we need to close that awareness gap. So I requested the person to do what we call as fishbowl experiment, okay, which is a good substitute for 360-degree feedback. And I asked him to bring the output of that experiment to the coaching session. It was a self-awareness one, and we don't embarrass people in the coaching there, because it is evident that his image of what kind of leader he is had already been shattered. So between the step 1 and 2 were already taken care of. We straight away go, okay, I can see that you are not very proud of the feedback that you have received. Let's talk
Mhm.
about what you want to do with it. Okay, and that changed that person.
Yeah, that was actually a mind blowing story. I shall use the experiment. I'm taking notes with it. So, also we got a question: is how is relationship coaching different from life coaching?
Pretty similar, not different, because relationship are central to any life. So that's a one way to look at it. However, in relationship coaching, we normally focus on relationships which are critical and important for the client, and probably are becoming a source of interference or progress to the client. So to that extent, life is a very broad term. Life coaching you can talk about. So sometimes you'll have people coming in looking for meaning in life, purpose, finding purpose in life. So it becomes slightly broader. Okay, so we can say relationship coaching is a nice subset, or of life coaching.
Okay. So, can we say that is life coaching basically people come for life coaching where they want to understand why in their life, and
They're
then they come
looking
for
for
relationship coaching
one
why in the relationship?
one of the things. That's an example of life coaching, because you're looking for purpose, meaning, higher purpose, connections, could be many things. So that's just an example, one of the examples of life.
Okay. Okay, got it. So I also wanted to understand if you can share 5 to 6 moments or situations which people can identify and then say, yes, this is the moment where we need a relationship coach. This is, you know, I need to hire a relationship coach.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
good one. So we say when you start feeling, in behavioral science we use an expression called as, do I deserve this, which is also called as imposter syndrome. So
Mm-hmm.
people doubt the success sometimes, or the things they good things that happen in life. Okay, it's a good time to probably look at a relationship coach. Okay, because their confidence is not where it needs to be. Sometimes you want to hire a relationship coach when you ruminate. Ruminate is sometimes, when before you go to the bed, or when you get up sometimes for a glass of water at 3 a.m. in the morning, and you're still thinking about the same issue with the same person. You are ruminating. Okay, it's a time to hire a relationship coach probably. Then also, we have already talked about three situations. When in intimate relationship, the frequency of conflict is going up. Relationship coach, intensity is going up, and you find yourself uncontrollable, and you can sense that someday you will cross that threshold of mentally being disturbed to physically being disturbed. That's not a good place to be. You need to probably look at, because the intensity of emotion is becoming uncontrollable.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, we talked about that when you basically go into extreme silence and violence, or after a conflict, and you can't recover back, it's time to hire a relationship coach. And you are justifying bad behavior. Justifying bad behavior is basically a good indication that you are damaging the relationship and feeling good about damaging the relationship. So be very aware of that. You can never, should not be feeling good about damaging the relationship. Classical example, sometimes you'll hear parents being hitting their kids physically and feeling good about it, especially if you're a Punjabi like me.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for, joining and sharing this with us. And, we will again have these conversations about other things in life. So see you on the other side.
Thank you, Ridhi. Thanks for having me, and keep doing the good job. Really appreciate.